Emily, welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
So
I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I'm like stoked because you and I just met, but I was stalking you on Instagram for a long time, your work. I feel like your career has, I don't want to say it just blew up, but I'm seeing you more and more in my feed.
Yeah.
You're shooting a lot of high profile weddings.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Tell us just how your career started. How did you get here? And yeah, give us the background.
Where do I even begin? Okay, so I picked up a camera, I want to say when I was like 13, 14. Like I remember I was a soccer referee. That was my first job. I saved up my money and that was one of the first things I bought. Just for some reason, something like led me to photography like super young. And I just started taking pictures of like my friends playing soccer whenever I wasn't playing soccer. Never thought it would be like an actual career because mind you, at that time too, like my parents were like, no, you need to go to college, like do a real career. Like, so I did go to college. I had a soccer scholarship. I thought I was going to be a soccer player my whole life. Of course, like
she's an athlete.
Yeah, I love playing soccer. So I was like, that's going to be my life for sure. So yeah, I did college, hated college. I actually went into a job where I was bedazzling, which is so funny. Bedazzling bikinis. I was also a competitor, a bikini competitor, like in the bodybuilding world. And so I like would bedazzle those bikinis. And
that is the most random thing I've ever heard.
It is, I know, that's bikinis. Why I had to put that in there because it's like, what?
I'm going to need a photo of that.
Yeah. I actually have tendonitis because of it, because of so much bedazzling. Like literally my wrist is messed up. But yeah, so from there, I met a friend who was doing photography actually like full time. And I was like, that's really cool. I've always wanted to do that. And she's like, let's do it together. And I was like, okay, sure.
What kind of photography was she doing?
She was doing everything. She was doing like maternity, portrait. Like she was kind of all over the place, like just like doing everything. I think she had done like 1 or 2 weddings maybe. And I was like, okay, I started it with her. And it was cool because then I got to see like all types of photography, maternity, portraits, babies, and really see what I liked.
And they're all so different.
So different. So different. And something led me to just like really loving weddings. I did like my first wedding and I was like, okay, this is it for me. I'm like, I absolutely love this. I feel so connected to this. And our friendship like kind of like dwindled from there because she had a baby. Like, you know, our lives just like changed so much. Like during that season, we were like 21 too. Like you don't know yourself. So much is happening. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually take this serious. I quit my bedazzling job and I just like really like invested all of like my energy into like weddings and building that up. And now it's been 10 years since I did that. And like really honestly, I just think time is a big factor into like where I am today. Obviously, time, energy, like
perfecting your craft and your style. Because I think you have a very specific style.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that it's very trendy. I hate the word trendy when it comes to it because it has a classic style to it. But right now, everyone's really into that high fashion, high flash.
Yes.
And I think you do that very well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that also like goes hand in hand with like just me as an individual. Like I love dressing up. I love fashion. Like I feel like the clients that I attract are like the type of weddings the type of wedding I would personally have, or like the type of girl like I would be friends with type of thing. So like I feel like it's just so easy for me to like capture and like bring about in like my imagery. So yeah, it's fun.
It's your style. So 10 years of shooting, and your first year of shooting, like how many weddings did you do and how did you book clients? Do you remember?
Man, my first year.
Or in the early years.
Yeah. Not a lot, to be honest. I think like my first year, maybe it was like 5 or something. And then like the second year, it was like 10. And then the third year, it was like 30.
Oh, wow.
And then like the fourth year, it was then like 30 again. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't know if I can do that. Like, this is a lot. Cause like I would travel too. Like I would get elopements. Like I'd be in like Yosemite, I'd be in Arizona, and like I'd just be all over the place. And it was just a lot. Like, and then I'm editing like 24/7. So more recently, I'm like, okay, I'm only like maybe 20 max now, like, which is still a lot. But I'm like, I love what I do. So like it feels like right. So yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize when they're hiring a photographer, it's not just the actual framing and the shooting and all of that, but there's so much work on the back end of the editing and the curating down, the potentially thousands of photos that you've taken to like a beautiful album.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of work. So I mean, 30 weddings is a crazy amount.
Not even that too. Like there's so much work that goes in beforehand too. Because like creating, so like what I do is like I'll send over a questionnaire to all of my brides. And from there, I create their photo timeline, which is so different from like the wedding planner's timeline. So like I spend time on that. I'm always
what goes into a photo timeline?
So I like literally will break it down. So like I'll do like, okay, photographer arrives X, like whatever time that is, where I'm doing detail shots from this time to this time. I leave room for some candids because I love like whatever's happening in the room, the vibe, like
the moments in between.
Yeah. So I leave a lot of room for that, which like planners aren't thinking of that. They're just like, okay, structure. This is what's happening. Bum, bum, bum. So then I like leave room for like obviously bride getting dressed, like the pretty portraits in between. Like if the lighting is right, like I want to have that time and like that space to like have fun and create, you know, like I want you to enjoy that moment with your mom when she's zipping up your dress. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, it's 3:15. We have to like run to the first look, you know, like I don't like that. So I make sure to like plan my days like with like a lot of time. Like I put 30 minutes for you to like put your dress on. Just instead, like even though it might take 5 minutes. Yeah.
Give you that buffer.
Yeah.
So you do the wedding day timeline and what else goes into the pre-shoot or pre-wedding day?
So like usually an engagement shoot. I love to do engagement shoots with my clients because I feel like it's a really good way to like connect with them, like get to know them. They get to know me. That way like wedding day, like they're super comfortable and they're already like, we already know you, like we're comfortable type
and
of thing.
And are you coaching the couple on like how to pose
for sure.
and all that? Okay.
Yeah. I do allow for like a lot of like candids, but a lot of times like couples are like, all right, tell me what to do. Like,
well, you never realize until a camera's pointed at you how awkward your arms are.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with your hands? Like, people don't know what to do when the camera, all of a sudden you're like, why are my arms here?
Like, that's actually one of the very first things that I always tell the guy, just because I feel like girls are a little more flowy and like, you know, like softer, like
we love a camera moment for the most part.
Yeah. So like the guys are usually just like stiff. And I'm like, okay, for you, I'm like, just know that the girl does all the work. So take the pressure off of yourself. Yeah. Like usually the girl's the posing, like, you know, the one posing and stuff. I'm like, your hands, there's only a few things to do with them. Grab her waist, pockets, maybe grab your jacket, grab her face, like think of like little moments, you know, like obviously I'll guide it throughout the like session, but it's so much easier than when you like begin a session. I feel like the clients like just are so in their heads and they're so like, okay, what do we do? We're like so nervous. But then by the end of it, they're always like, that was amazing. Like I would do that again.
So the engagement shoot is really the trial run to get comfortable, get the energy. And also for a lot of people, it's the first time that they've had this level of production, I would say, when it comes to like getting their photos taken.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because as I would say, especially for a lot of guys, I'm not sure they're doing, unless they're like an influencer or something, they're not doing a lot of shoots.
I don't think I've had a guy at all. Yeah, who has like done like photos. Yeah.
And are your couples sharing their kind of fashion vibe with you in advance? Like, are you collaborating? Because I feel like a lot of your images are very fashion forward. Like, are you participating in that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I always, so like one of the things I always do is like, I'll have my brides like send me everything. Like I tell them like, send me your dress. Like as soon as you go dress shopping, like please send me your dress. Because also too, like for me, I'm such a like, it's so terrible. I'm on social media like way too much. But like for me, everything is everything is inspiration. Like me walking outside, like seeing what people are wearing, I'm just like, oh, that's cute. Oh, like, or even, I don't know, just anything when people like touch their hair a certain way. I was like for me, it's like, I'm like, that's an image right there. Like, I don't know, whatever it is, like the way you like touch your, I don't know how to explain it. But like for me, literally everything is inspiration. So like I tell my brides, like, I want to be like as much a part of like the planning process, like as you want me to be, obviously, but also know that like it helps me too. Like when you show me what your flowers are going to be, like when I do my vision calls, that's one of the things I ask, like, what's the vibe for the day? And I think that's important too, like knowing what type of photography you're wanting, like what matters to you most about your day. So
you do have a diverse style of photography though, because I mentioned that high fashion like flash, but you also kind of have like a softer, airy, natural light vibe to you too. So is that something you developed over time? Is it based on the couple's vibe? Like,
I think a mix of like both of those that you just said. So I like to consider my photography like, yes, very high fashion, like high flash, like I want you to be on a magazine cover, but then also like I want your photos to like show exactly what the day was. Like, you know, like I want those picture perfect moments, but then I also want those like, that makes me feel something. Like I remember that that's exactly how the lighting was. Like, you know, like if it's like, let's say the reception is like all candlelit, like I want to show that rather than like brightening it up too much or like making it too dark or
making it feel manufactured.
Yeah.
So capturing the day as it is.
Yeah.
So how would you describe that then? Is that more like documentary style?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. That's why like I'm such a mix, like you said, of that like natural, candid documentary style, but then also like you're going to be on a magazine cover. You belong on a magazine
You
cover.
get those moments.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I find that with a lot of wedding photographers, they have a very specific style and vibe and like that's it. And that's what you are hiring someone for that lens. But I do think it's challenging for, you know, a fashion forward couple who they want that glossiness, but also at the same time, they want that kind of more timeless, classic, that emotive type imagery. So I think that's part of what drew me to your style. I was like, oh, wait, she's got like a vibe, but it's also not just the vibe.
Yeah.
It's like a full picture, which I think is what you, if you are a fashion forward person, you want that full spectrum of photography.
Yeah. Especially for weddings too, because like you want somebody who can capture like the moments without them having to be like perfectly staged or perfectly like in like set up for a picture, you know, like, yeah. I think it also depends too on the couple. I go very much based off of like your vibe, your relationship, your love, like your day, how it's like set up and stuff
They
like
set
that.
the tone.
Yeah.
So fast forward to today, now you're getting a lot of bigger names kind of reaching out to you to shoot. Like, when did you kind of see that shift in your business?
Okay, it's funny. I didn't know if I was going to talk about this, but I think it's when I left like my last relationship that like my life just like, I don't know. It's almost
blossomed?
like yeah.
Wow.
It's almost like I planted seeds so long ago for like my business to grow, my business to thrive, for like me to be my best version of myself. So I think I might get a little deep here, but
No,
I think like when I grew as a person, that's when like my business grew too. You know, like just like changing my mindset, changing like who I am as a person, like working on myself, working on my healing. So like, that's why I say like when my last,
goosebumps.
That's why I say like when my last relationship ended, I just kind of like, I don't know, put myself first and kind of like worked on myself, and it just,
the business exploded.
Yeah.
Well, I find it so interesting because we talk to a lot of couples on here as they're in their planning process, and your partner can bring out the best in you or it can bring out the worst in you, and they can weigh you down and they can lift you up. So it's so interesting to hear how you're dealing with couples all day long. You're seeing that energy, that vibe in relationships. So it's not surprising that also you are attracting the couples that reflect back your own style. And it seems like it's been pretty seamless for you.
For sure. I am such a huge believer that like what is for you is for you, who is for you is for you. You're going to be attracted to naturally with who you're meant to like be around, and like you're going to be where you're meant to be always.
So then since you brought it up, let's get a little personal because you are engaged yourself.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about your partner if you want to, and like the relationship, and how long ago did you get engaged?
I got engaged in November of
so she's fresh.
Last year, yeah.
She's just started planning.
I haven't even started planning.
I know. Isn't it hard to be in the industry?
It is. I'm like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm just like thinking about like where will I even begin in? But we're not there yet. I mean, we definitely want something very low key, like very small, intimate. We both like have like ever since we went to Italy together, we're like, we want to get married here. But like we want to make it an experience and like a family vacation type thing. So my fiance and I met, it'll be 3 years this year. He actually was a personal trainer, and he did that like for the majority of the time that we were together. Last year, he was kind of in a space where he's like, I don't like really want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like figuring out what exactly he would do. He shot his first wedding with me last year, which is funny, in January, because my assistant was unable to like make it because she was shooting like another wedding for me. So I was like, crap, I need somebody. Like I need a second shooter. And he was like, I'll do it. I'll come with you, whatever. I'm like, for real?
Wow.
So he came. I obviously had been showing him how to use the camera because like I like to take photos like myself too. So like I kind of just like felt it out. I was like, all right, like take pictures of things that like you see, like things like moments that you feel are like memorable and stuff like that. And I remember I looked at the pictures after and I was like, wow, these are actually really good. Like
he has an eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause he's also like we're both like very deep feelers.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what makes like a good wedding photographer when you can like
Connect.
feel and connect. Yeah. Be in the moment. So like he was getting some really good shots and I was like, wow, these are actually really good. Like obviously we had things to work on, whatever. But like for the most part, I'm like, you have so much potential. So later that year, my assistant ended up getting pregnant. So she ended up like moving, like, you know, like
life changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I lost her and my fiance was quitting his job. So I was like, I mean, I have so many travel like weddings coming up. Like I'd rather not go alone. Like I'm like, it just makes more sense for like you to just work with me like full time. And then also I opened up my own photography studio 2 years ago.
Like so a physical space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
So
where's that?
In Dania Beach, Florida.
And like what kind of, is it more like portrait style, family photos or?
It's like, it's really just like a rental space. So like a lot of photographers will rent it. And they'll take photos there and like stuff like that. So like now my fiance manages the studio, which is really cool. Whereas like my assistant used to do that. So like he took that over and then now he does weddings with me full time. So like honestly, it's just been really cool.
That's
like,
so
and
fun.
How things like worked out. So like now.
Yeah, you travel a lot. Mm-hmm. You do a lot of destinations. Yeah. So now you have your assistant, your plus one, and you guys can explore different places together. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's literally the best.
So he started shooting with you last January. Mm-hmm. So you must have known that like this relationship was serious. That if you're bringing him into the business, you're like, this is my person.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think we actually talked about like getting engaged, like life goals, like very early on. Mm. I mean, how old am I? I'm 30. I always forget. I'm 31. So like, I feel like, you know, like I obviously am thinking like forward, you know, like I'm getting close to like wanting a baby. Like, so we've talked about like, you know, like life, where do you see yourself like with your life and like, what are your visions? What are your goals? Like all those things were super important to me in the beginning. So like, if I'm going to be with somebody, it's going to be like somebody who's going to like
align.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you knew early on based on his answers that you were like, so did you know the proposal was coming?
No. So it's funny because I planned us a photo shoot. I was like, we're going to New York. Like we've never been in New York together. It's like the city of love. Like, you know, there's so many like photo ops everywhere. Like it's so like my vibe. And I planned us a photo shoot and I was like, I would mess around. I was like, maybe he'll propose like during the photo shoot. But then I remember I brought it up one day. I was like, oh, what a shame it would be if you proposed to me in New York. And he's like, are you serious? Like, you really think I'm going to propose to you without your family there? And I was like, damn, I guess not. Yeah. So like, he really convinced me.
He
like
threw
it was
you
not,
off.
Yeah. He really convinced me it was not happening. So like that whole like, and also we were coming for work too. So like, I wasn't like thinking about the photo shoot. Like I hadn't even got my nails freshly done. Like I was like,
she wasn't thinking about
it. I was like, it's not happening for sure. Like the outfit I got was like subpar. Like it was okay. Like it wasn't like the outfit I would have picked if I would have known I was getting engaged. So yeah, we almost missed our flight. Like we went to Fort Lauderdale Airport instead of Miami Airport. And I was like, it's fine. We'll just skip the photo shoot. Meanwhile, his mom's like, no, we got to get to the airport. And I'm like, they're more stressed than me. Usually I'm the stressed one.
Yeah.
And little did I know, he was proposing.
Wow.
My whole family knew. Everybody knew. Like, it was really special.
So who shot it?
Some girl that I found, like, because again, I didn't pick anyone that was like.
You were just doing a photo shoot.
Yeah, just for memories. Like.
For the memes.
Yeah. I'm like, this
and then it was the ultimate memory.
Yeah.
So where was it here in New York?
It was the Brooklyn Bridge, like right under it. Amazing. Like where the carousel is, like with the view of the bridge. Yeah, it was really sweet.
Oh, you're going to have to share the photos with us.
Yeah.
That's
It
so
was really sweet. Yeah.
So you didn't know it was coming. You were totally surprised. Did you black out? Because I blacked out during it's like a thing that happens.
Yeah. Brides would always tell me that because I'm always photographing engagements. That's the funny thing too, because I'm like, I'm going to know 1,000% when he's proposing because I do this like for a living. I literally help.
So you shoot a lot of proposals too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I literally help the guys plan these. I'm like, I'm going to know. And I did not know. But wait, what was your question?
My question was, did I
black out? A little bit. Yeah, I did. I remember the whole time I was just like, no,
You're like, what's happening?
I'm like, shut up, no. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to take this out of my ass now and do
Oh my God. I love that.
How was your proposal?
It was a surprise-ish. The ring wasn't because I designed it.
Yeah. I did pick out my ring. I would say that.
Yeah. It's, so I knew it was coming-ish. So I had Nicole from Ring Concierge. She's the one that did my ring.
Okay.
She's been a friend of mine for years and years. Gosh, like met her like 7-8 years ago. And I like went to her studio and like basically like picked out the diamond, picked out the setting. I was like, I want an east-west, and she basically was like, never ever ask me about this again.
Yeah.
Like give me his number and that's it. So that was in January end of 2020. We were supposed to go to the south of France on a vacation with another couple in like end of May, early June in 2020. And then COVID hit. So all of our plans were like canceled. So we were just in our apartment and I was like, did he get the ring? Did she sell the stone to someone else? Like what's happening? And I was like in a COVID funk. Like I was like kind of like put on some pounds, like wasn't feeling my best. I was like so sick of being in New York City and not being able to enjoy the city.
Be able to walk.
Walk around and go to dinners and all that stuff. So he was like, why don't we just get dressed up? My friends are coming into town. He's like, put this dress on. It'll make you happy. And I was like, that's kind of weird. To be, although he sometimes would help me pick up my clothes, which is a weird thing to say, but like,
because this exact dress.
Yeah. But he was like, I think you're going to like this one. So anyways, it was a Central Park. He told us we were meeting up with his friends, which was weird because that friend who was flying into town was pregnant with twins. And I'm like, I don't see someone pregnant with twins flying during COVID. It was like a whole thing.
Guys do not think of flying.
Yeah. And I was like, that's weird. But anyways, we were like meeting them in Central Park. He's like, oh, I'm trying to find them. They said they dropped the pin. And anyways, a friend of mine, Yumi, she shot the proposal. And it's funny because a good friend of mine, Alex, and her husband, Moshe, I had planned their engagement 6 weeks before, and it was the exact same setup. Same photographer in Central Park, just like a different part of the park.
How funny.
So
that'd have been funny if you were planning your own.
Yeah, I basically was. That's what happened. So, and I loved the photos. Yumi did a great job. And it was funny because I knew her. Yeah. So she was like trying to hide wearing a hat so that I wouldn't recognize her. Because I would be like, what's she doing here? But yeah, I totally blacked out.
That's hilarious.
Totally blacked out. I got a little nauseous, had like fell to my feet.
Oh my God.
Like thought I was going to throw up. I was like, oh God, my legs buckled below me.
Everybody says that.
I was just overwhelmed.
Because
I was like, this is happening. Wait, time was like stopping and I'm looking around and I'm like, and then I got really embarrassed. I'm like, are people looking at me? Yeah. Like all these things, like it's crazy what floods your mind.
That moment is so like, especially because you like wait for that moment. You dream of that moment. Yeah. And you like think about that moment your whole life.
While it was happening though, I like wanted it to stop. I was like, okay, can we be done? Like, is this done? Like I was just so overwhelmed. Yeah. Which is kind of that same feeling that I know a lot of people experience on their wedding day. So much emotion that they don't remember their wedding day.
It's like overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Like happiness, excitement, that like looking back at the photos, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God she was there to snap these photos because I kind of don't remember it. Yeah. Like I kind of do, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot happening. How long have you guys been together?
Right? I mean, we got together in 2017. We got engaged in 2020. Okay. Here we are, 2024. Okay. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We're almost engaged 4 years. But honestly, it kind of is on brand. Forever the fiance.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have wedding plans at all?
No, we haven't. Like we had a huge engagement party in 2022. Okay. which was basically a wedding. I had like 3 looks. It was in LA at my dad's house.
So cool.
I had my dad on the podcast. We like
How cute.
broke it down, the planning.
I gotta listen to that one.
Yeah,
That's
no,
so
it
cute.
was really cute. My dad was, definitely father of the bride situation. And a couple of our friends who didn't end up coming to the engagement party were like, was that the wedding? Did we miss it? So we were planning on like, maybe we'll do something, August, September 2023.
Yeah.
But then we got pregnant and we're like, okay, well,
Maybe
we're doing
2024.
things. We're doing things out of order. So
that'll probably be me too, honestly.
it's, I feel like the rules of planning and relationships have changed. Like, there are no rules. You could do it in different orders. I know a lot of people have, like my friend who you're shooting her wedding, she had her baby first, then she got engaged, and now she's having her wedding.
Yeah.
And
I don't think there's any correct timeline, to be honest.
Yeah, it's changing a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see. TBD on the plans. When we start to plan, people will know because we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But
do you feel like pressure? Especially because you're like the wedding, wedding queen.
Yeah, no, it is hard because I have so many amazing friends who are planners. I have so many amazing photographers whose style that I love.
Yeah,
but I'm like, it's hard to just choose one.
Yeah.
Also, like the vibe of like, oh, I could totally do in a vineyard. That's a look. I'm also like into like a city moment. Like, there's just it's hard to choose, and so there has been a little bit of like analysis paralysis of like, oh, I'll just wait. I can see that. It's hard. I mean, what about you? Are you actively? How are you choosing your photographer?
I don't even know. I'm kind of on the same boat where I'm like, we know like what we want: small, intimate, Europe,
destination.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm aligned with that. Vacation, that's also kind of my vibe. Like a small group, international travel.
Yeah, and then same. I love the city vibe. So like, what I was going to tell you is, maybe it'd be cute to do like a civil courthouse wedding, like with
like
the
a
city
city
vibe.
hall moment. Yeah.
So that way you get like your 2 vibes, you get your 2 moments. Like,
and then you can do your Italian, or is it more Italian vineyard or is it more like Italian Riviera?
Probably Italian, like I'm thinking like Tuscany.
Yeah.
Like,
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm into that vibe too.
Yeah. I love that. Cute. Just like, I don't know, timeless garden.
Yeah.
Like,
so are you gonna hire a planner?
I don't know. It depends how like elaborate
you go.
Yeah. I'm like in between. I'm like, I kind of just want candles and roses on the table. Like super simple, minimal. I don't know. I feel like I do like a lot. I see so many weddings where it's like about everyone else and everything else. And like, I just want my day to be about like my fiance and I, like just about like our love and celebrating with the people that we love the most. Like, I just want to like keep it as simple as possible.
Which is so interesting because here you are shooting all these like really some elaborate over the top, but
which I love them too. But it's also not my budget. Like,
isn't that crazy how like when you're like, oh, the budget was only X, right, for a wedding, and then when it comes to you, you're like, wait, I'm not spending that. Yeah, like that's crazy. Like it's how it changes when you're like when it's your money versus like helping someone plan.
Yeah, I'm like, do that. Yeah, I'm like, do more flowers, more candles.
It's crazy because it really adds up real fast.
Yeah. There's so many like moving pieces. I think that's why for me too. I'm like, for me personally, like I don't know. I think it's like most important for us to spend money on like a really beautiful place that we don't have to like
dress up.
Yeah. I think, that's probably what we're going with.
And I feel like also a lot of your couples spend money on the fashion. Like that is a big part of.
That's what I would honestly spend most of my money on.
Is like the
outfits.
Looks. Yeah. Speaking of your clients, you recently shot a wedding that was in People magazine.
So Lila Pons. I did Lila Pons' wedding.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a year ago, actually. Yeah.
That was with Birch, who was on the podcast.
Yes. I love Birch.
They're part of the, Josh from Birch. And then also one of the planners on that, Gianna.
Okay, yes.
She was my engagement party planner.
Oh.
She planned my,
Oh, how cool.
So,
I love that.
It's so funny.
It's small world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gianna has not been on the podcast. She's very low-key.
Yeah,
I was trying to get her to join. She's like, I'm busy. Yeah. I was like, can you just come on to do a breakdown? She's like, well, we'll talk about it later.
She's
amazing now.
She's so great. I know. And like you look at her Instagram and it's like nothing weddings, but she's like this like low key, but like high key.
Yeah.
Like
She does
planner.
amazing stuff. Yeah. So
which
she
is so
planned our engagement party.
How cool.
That's what it was. It was Lily Pond's wedding.
Mhm.
Lele? Yeah.
Lele Pons. Yeah.
And my sister, who does wedding PR,
Okay.
I think she helped with the PR of that as well.
Oh, okay.
So it was like full
Cool.
circle.
How cool. I also did, that was in People magazine, Maddie Prue, her proposal.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
So how are these people finding you? So like, for example, like that, she reached out directly, or did you
her best friend did. So her best friend was helping plan the proposal. And then, they reached out to me like through email, and then, we made it happen.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you about high profile people when you're shooting them. Obviously, there's like privacy concerns. People don't want photos to be shared. What is your kind of point of view on like sharing images? I mean, I know it was a point of contention with my friend who you're shooting her wedding, just not wanting her wedding out there. Like more and more, it becomes an issue for some people.
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with that?
So I think every like client and person is obviously different. I always just ask that I can like share at least detail photos. Like obviously like I am so respectful. Like I understand like what you want is what you want. Like I get it. Like I go back and forth about like deleting my social media every other day. I'm like, this is so much. I'm like, but it's also a really great tool. So I get it. But I feel like every client is just so like different. Again, like I said, I just ask that I can like post something, because at the end of the day, like that is my marketing. Yeah. Like that is like how I get more clients. Yeah. Like that's how I can.
Being able to showcase your work.
Yeah.
So if someone is like, I don't want our photos of us being shared, then you'll share like the florals or like the decor or something.
Yeah. Maybe like little detail shots of like them putting their shoes on or like
where you can't tell it's photos the person.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I know, especially my sister who works a lot of high profile couples, like that is always a point of not wanting, personal images out there or, with celebrities or influencers, they have a lot of people who are like following and they're just very protective of like what they want to keep private versus sharing.
That's another thing that I do too, that I would just ask them to like approve. Okay, can you like approve certain images to like be posted? Like let me know which ones
you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
So
that
I
makes
do that
sense.
too. Yeah. Because I also have like another bride who her groom doesn't want like any photos of him posted. So like she's like, you could post whatever of me. I'm like, okay, I'll just like make sure everything's approved, so that way like we're all happy. So
so you'll kind of go through like an approval process before you post anything, which it's interesting because like 5 years ago that this like wasn't even a conversation, but it's something that couples need to think about when they're planning and they're choosing a photographer. It's that, like you said, this is part of the marketing for a lot of vendors is that they, they need the images to showcase their work. Yeah. But at the same time, people like are more and more privacy. Like I'm the same way with my daughter. Like I don't post her on social at all. She's 5.5 months old. Like close friends, they can see her on Instagram stories, but nothing in feed just because I don't know. It's like the one thing that I want to like keep to myself.
Yeah. Keep like, just protect. Yeah.
And I think social media has like really changed.
Yeah.
Everyone can see a piece of your life, right? And you don't even know them. Yeah. And they get a peek
it's kind of scary sometimes when you like.
So
really
I understand
like,
the wanting to delete the social like all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of stopped posting. I'm like the worst at it.
Yeah.
So you have shot like weddings like all around, proposals, elopements all around. Like what are some of your favorite places to shoot or that you have shot?
I really, really love, I've been to Yosemite. That's like, honestly, like it's such a different type of wedding, but I just feel like Yosemite is like such an unreal place. Like when I'm there, I'm just like, I can't believe this is like real. Another one besides that's been my favorite was Amangani in Wyoming. Oh, that place, unreal. Like I'd go back there every year. Like such a gorgeous place. Like the views, like the rooms, the vibe of like the place, so freaking cool. What other ones? I'm like drawing a blank. I know I have some really cool ones this year that I'm really excited about. I have a France one.
Ooh, where in France?
It's at a Chateau de Valerie.
Amazing.
That one's in June. And then I have another one in Napa Valley, which would be really cool. Stanley Ranch. And And then I have a Puglia wedding in September, which I'm really excited about.
Well, now you got to scope it out to see for your wedding.
Yeah, right?
Puglia is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about it.
Yeah.
We're actually thinking of possibly doing that, like being able to like scope out the area and like see for hours. But those are really cool ones that I feel like those are going to make the top of the list for sure.
Are there places that do you feel like there's underrated places that people like don't really like, any hidden gems?
Where Lila Pons got married actually was very, very beautiful. My best friend, we did her wedding portraits there too. Like so pretty. I feel like that's kind of like underrated.
The venue there.
Yeah.
I have to like pull it up here, pull the side by side of where that was.
It's the Botanical Garden. I forgot what it's called.
Is it called the Botanical Garden? I think it is.
It's a botanical garden, but it has a name. like a word before it. Fairchild Botanical Garden. Yeah. Really pretty.
Yeah. Her wedding was...
Vizcaya is gorgeous. I love Vizcaya. That's obviously... I mean, everybody knows Vizcaya.
Yeah.
Because it's just like... It's charm. Like it just like gives you like Italy-ish vibes. It's just like the garden's really beautiful. I love shooting there. There's always so many like photo ops. Yeah.
So you've been shooting now for 10 years. You've kind of like, I'm assuming you've seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
Has there been anything that has been like a standout moment of like oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened at a wedding? Spill the tea. Without telling, you have to tell details, but like what's like the craziest thing you've seen?
Honestly, whenever like brides and grooms fight on wedding day,
do you see that?
It or not, yes.
The stress is real?
Yes. Like I had one time where like somebody dipped somebody the wrong way and like she didn't like it. I'm just like, everybody was like,
They saw it like, in front of
everyone. Yeah.
That's awkward.
Yeah. Just like awkward moments when like the bride is really mean to the groom. I think that's like the most awkward for me because I'm just like, you should not be fighting on your wedding day, but to each its own. I have no one to judge. I'm just like, it's just as a photographer, I'm just like, okay, guys, let's move on.
Put on a happy face and let's change the vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's the thing. Like, I feel like as a photographer, I like kind of like have to change that tone, like change that like mood. But yeah.
It's so funny because I asked, so Alexandra Madison and her husband, John, they used to be wedding videographers. They're now like big like content creators and they were on the podcast and I asked the same question. And now that they're like retired from being like,
weddings.
Filmmakers, they're like, she spilled the tea and she said that they were filming and it was like this beautiful sunset, like the couple and the bride hawked a loogie she spit in the groom's face. She like hated him. They ended up getting divorced.
Thank God. Oh my God.
But she said that they caught it like cinemagraphically, like slow-mo the spit. And I mean, I would have loved to see that footage. I feel like that's just hysterical. Right? But she told us that story and I was like, oh my God. She was like, that was like the one standout moment. Yeah. Is that not crazy?
Yeah, that's actually really crazy.
They ended up getting divorced. So clearly it was not a fit.
How was like the rest? I wonder.
She said it was really intense, very stressful. She's like, it was like really hard. And of course, like you're capturing still, but they were capturing the video. And so they could see the entire thing. It's even harder to like. And then they had to go, they didn't even know it was happening when it happened. It was when they were rewatching and they were editing. They were like, oh my gosh.
That's so bad.
Is that not wild?
Jeez.
It's a one in like hundreds of weddings being shot, but like
crazy things always happen.
We also had Jen Glantz, who's bridesmaid for hire. She's based here in Brooklyn. She like gets hired to do weddings and like to pretend to be a bridesmaid, fake identity, like the whole thing.
I've seen that actually.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Crazy.
And she said like 30% of the weddings that she gets hired to do, they end up asking her to help break off the wedding. Is that not insane?
Oh my God. What?
I know. I'm like, if you're hiring someone to be your bridesmaid, it's because you need someone to do some dirty.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I hear they pay really well for those type of things.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you have to break up a real relationship.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You have to hire somebody to break up your relationship. Wow.
It's pretty crazy. Wow. Anyway, so that I always love getting those like, juicy tidbits because people, they wonder, right? Like all the weddings that you've done, all the family drama. There's not that I'm saying that like weddings are all about family drama, but there's so much emotion on the day. There's so many things that come into play, different family dynamics, budgets, people coming in from out of town. There's always some level of chaos. I don't like to like celebrate the chaos, but I also want to normalize it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like
things happen on wedding days. Like
it happens.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's like so many personalities in one room. Although, yes, it is for the most part, like the happiest, most emotional, beautiful day. There are sometimes
those moments.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So somebody asked me the other day, they were like, what is like your ideal client? Mm-hmm. So I just told her, I was like, honestly, somebody who really cares about their photos. Because at the end of the day, like that's the one thing that you're going to take home forever. Not the flowers, not the chairs, not the tables. Like I feel like brides stress so much about like the little details, which yes, they matter. But like, I think for me, what matters the most is you being fully present on your wedding day. So like, that's one of the things I told her. I was like, honestly, I just want clients who like are going to be fully present on their wedding day and like not worry or stress about like all of the external things and just like care about the one thing that matters. Like you're marrying your best friend. Like, and that should be like the center, the one thing that you care about the most. Yes, the photos are super important, but like being present is everything.
And being present is going to make those photos even better because you can't really manufacture. I mean, I don't know, maybe you're a really good stylist. You can manufacture those moments, but you even said it earlier in the conversation that like you're a deep feeler and that you feel into those moments. And that's what makes the imagery so special.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it like working with your fiance every day?
We have our moments for sure. I think every couple does. Like I feel like no healthy relationship, like I think communication is everything, especially when working together. Like sometimes like he gets on my nerves when he asks me like the same thing 100 times when it's like literally written out for him. Like, hey, I can't find this email. I'm like,
oh, that's my fiance all day long. Yeah, he loves to ask me a question that I'm like, you know the answer to that.
Yeah. Like, how do I find the Loverly podcast email? I'm like, babe, just type in Loverly podcast. It's right here. Or like, that's why it's funny when people think that like the men will pick out like the bride's engagement ring and it's like they can't even find the ketchup in the fridge. Like, you really think that he picked this out? Like,
there's like a meme that I literally reference all the time with my fiance. It's like the Mrs. Doubtfire meme where it's like, I'm coming. Because literally he'll ask me exactly that. Where's the ketchup? And I'm like,
I don't see it.
Open it. It's literally right there. How do you not see it?
It's literally like in your face.
I mean, I think that's every relationship. I feel like there's always the person that knows knows all the details. Yeah. And then there's like the big picture person. I'm definitely the detail person. Yeah. And my fiance is like the big vision, type. So we balance each other out, which I feel like is oftentimes in relationships, like the dynamics.
I think that's how we are too. Cause my fiance, it's funny. He's like such a planner. Like earlier today, he's like, okay, actually yesterday, he was like, what time is the event? What time is the podcast? What time are you done with the podcast? So like, for him in his brain, he's like planning like, okay, we're going to have lunch at this time. Mm-hmm. We're going to get ready at this time. We're going to head over to the event at this time. And for me, I'm just like, I don't even know what like I'm wearing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like I do, but I don't. Like,
well, it's funny how like I totally understand because I'm also like a details person in some regards, but then in other things I'm like
go with the flow.
I'm the same way. And when I'm in flow, is when my fiance is like,
yes,
and then I get annoyed.
Yes, that's actually us to the T.
But I think it's funny because I think that's just like in relationships, you're always choosing your opposite.
Yeah, I think so too.
Isn't that weird?
Well, they say that like. Obviously opposites attract. They say that's a thing. But also like you are going to end up with a partner who like helps you like become a better like is your opposite. So like you become a better person type of thing.
Yeah. So it's like the things that you are your weaknesses, you know, they have. And also like it also I think exacerbates if something really annoys you, your partner is going to annoy you with that one thing.
Oh, for sure.
That's just like how it is.
For sure. But besides that, honestly, working together is really great. Like it's a lot easier than I was really nervous. I'm not going to lie because I'm like, this is like a lot of time like spent together.
We should have invited him. You should have popped in for a couple, a couple conversations with us.
That would have been fun.
A couple moments.
That would have been fun. Especially because it's like so new to him. I always like wonder like, I mean, I know obviously he loves it, but like it's like, so like that's been like a big thing where it's like just been like a big life change for him. So he's younger than me too. So
Same
like,
sis.
yeah,
My fiance,
I love that.
4 years younger.
Really? Okay, we're 5. So it's so weird because I feel like everyone that I'm attracting into my life lately, like, is with younger men. I'm like, it's so
I always
weird.
dated older men, and then like
Same.
or people my age, and then all of a sudden he was younger, and I was like, this is weird.
Same. How did you guys meet?
He was teaching meditation, and I was
Wow.
stressed out, and I needed to meditate.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Tell me about that.
And yeah,
interaction.
so I went into, I had a mutual friend who was like, oh my gosh, I really think you're going to like this guy. And so like I met him. I was like, what? Like, I don't see it. Like, he's so different
was he like,
from me.
okay, like, trying
He's
to guide
just
you
so
and you're like,
calm. Well, it was a class with a bunch of people.
okay.
He was just very relaxed.
Yeah.
And I am generally, that's not a word that you would use to describe me. I'm very high energy. I'm always on the go. You know, I'm A-type personality, doer, planner, you know, and a lot of, and he was just so go with the flow, relaxed and calm. And I kind of like joked to her. I'm like, you're serious? Like you
think I'm going to be with
like this guy's too chill, you
That's
know?
hilarious.
But that's the medicine that I needed, clearly.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's funny because I joke that I ruined him because he now runs a contracting business. He does interior, exterior renovations.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you know, and now he is not as relaxed and I'm the more chill one sometimes. I'm like, I ruined you. You used to be like the most chill person.
That's funny.
But yeah, so that's how we met. And then probably about a year later, he switched into gears to start his contracting business. So he's also, you know, an entrepreneur. And that's like cool. A lot when you're both in relationship. So we end up working together on like
I bet,
our house. You know, that's like a collaboration.
Yeah.
It's fun-ish. It's fun in theory. And then you're like fighting over paint colors. But yeah, so that's how we met. And honestly, I think probably like 6 months, 8 months in, I knew that we would probably end up together.
Yeah.
Because we moved in together. And when you move in together, you're kind of like committing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's that stage where it's like, okay, I mean, because for us, we moved in like after like 2-3 months. And I was like, either I want to find out now if this is going to work out or not. Yeah. So like, let's just rip off the Band-Aid. Like,
and get it done.
Yeah.
And how did you guys meet?
We met at the gym. So I switched gyms and started going to like this new bougie gym like in my area. And he was one of the trainers there. I remember it was like, I saw him and I was just like, this is weird. Because I had traveled to so many places and I never like felt like attracted to anyone ever. Like where I'm just like, something's wrong with me. I'm like, it was such a weird feeling. Like I couldn't, like, it was like little girl shy. Like I couldn't even look at him. Like I would like make eye contact with him. It was like a visceral attraction. I made eye contact with him and I'm like, oh my God. It was so weird. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm not like that with anyone. Like I can easily like hold a conversation. I can look at somebody in the eyes. Like it was such a weird feeling. And then I did a yoga class that he signed up for too at like his gym. And he happened to be in there. And I remember he was like taking his shirt off and it was like slow motion in my mind. I'm just like watching him and I'm just like, and I'm like, oh my God. And
did
then
you
after
make the
that,
first
I was
move?
like, I did. Yeah. Yeah. I DM'd him. Yeah. But I found out later that he like had signed up for that class because he saw that I was in it. So like, he was like, you know, like, putting his like footprints out there too.
And then you slid into the DM.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. You made the first move.
I did, yeah.
Well, the older woman.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you got to go after what you want.
Before we wrap up, what's really exciting, so by the time this episode comes out, we will have had our Loverly formal fete, which you're going to be shooting tonight.
So excited.
It's going to be awesome. So Loverly does these events for everyone listening. We do these like events 3 to 5 times a year where we kind of create these experiences for recently engaged couples. And tonight the vibe is a black tie affair. So the guys are going to be dressed by the black tux. The women are going to be dressed by Park and Fifth, and they're going to be glammed by Glam Squad, and you are going to shoot them. Which is kind of a surprise for them. Like they're getting basically a little mini engagement shoot.
Oh, they don't even know that.
They know there's like things in store.
Okay.
But like I cannot wait.
That's so fun. They're going to love that.
Yeah. They're going to come
I would love that if I went to an event.
They're going to come back with a full photo shoot.
That's so awesome. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. So
I love that everyone's going to be like dressed like to the nines and like I'm just excited.
Feel like when you're dressed up, you show up to a party feeling like a certain way.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
It's going to be super fun, and we'll share the photos.
Yeah.
Yeah. On our IG and your IG.
So excited.
It's going to be really fun. So I'm excited to have you shoot me and my fiance.
Yes, I know. Me too. Have you guys done like a photo shoot?
Not really together. Like we had our engagement party photos, but that was like basically
that was kind of like in the moment type thing. Like
exactly.
Not really.
It's funny because his mom is a model.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, she's been a model for like 40 years.
She's still a model today.
Yeah, she's a fit model now. But
wow.
So he's an attractive guy, but you're gonna have to teach him about the hands.
Oh, trust me, I got
the placement.
Yeah, we got it. He'll be fine. That's so fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
How did you get into like the whole like wedding world?
So I got into the wedding industry because my sister is a wedding publicist. Okay. So she's the one. And we were working. I was basically her partner. I was a wedding publicist with her, and then she got engaged, and we started planning her wedding, and it was like very stressful. And this is like,
what did she end up doing?
She got married in San Ynez at a vineyard at a small wedding venue. She had, it was like 120 people.
Okay.
She had, her wedding was a 5-page spread in Martha Stewart. So it was like
amazing.
Every detail she had planned out.
So cool.
Not one cake, but like 7 cakes. And so while we were planning her wedding, this is pre-Pinterest. This is like 2009, I think she got married.
Oh, wow.
So like, yeah, it was a long
to do
time
that
ago.
too, like
she
back
went,
in the day is like.
She went all out.
Wow.
So my whole vision was like, why is this so hard? It needs to be a lot easier. And so the idea for Loverly was like, can we simplify the inspiration process, the information? And then now as of recently, we've rolled out all these like free wedding planning tools. So like your checklist, your guest list.
I love that.
And we're just trying to take the stress out of like the planning process.
Yeah.
Because it's unnecessarily stressful for all the reasons we spoke about.
Yeah.
Dynamics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Budgets.
Yeah.
Decision fatigue.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's like such a simple thing, but also not. Yeah. Like it's one of those things.
We
like,
overcomplicate it for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love Loverly. I love everything that you guys like post. Like I actually go to Loverly a lot for like my inspo, like before weddings.
Oh my God, I love that.
I'll go to the page and like, I'll just like scope it out. And I'm like, oh, I love that. Like that's inspiration for like this wedding. Like, and that goes back to that question that you had asked me about like how I like prep for like weddings. That's one of the things that I do is I like search for inspiration, and I'm just like,
you pull from different places.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm always like keeping an eye for like certain weddings and things.
This has been the Loverly Wedding Podcast. We are hosted by Kelly Khalil, produced by Shannon Dietrich and Jennifer Alvarado, edited by Terry Carmichael. Watch the podcast on YouTube by subscribing to our channel, and you can follow and listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, and every major podcast feed.